Chapter 1. Alexander, have you lost your mind? My childhood friend Justin's mouth was wide enough to fit an egg. We were sitting on the bleachers by the school field. The summer breeze drifted past, carrying both the restless heat and the bittersweet sadness of graduation season. I took a calm sip of water. I'm not crazy. I'm perfectly clear-headed. Clear-headed? You call this clear-headed? Justin snatched my water bottle. For Nicole, you've been grinding like crazy since freshman year, all just to get into the same university as her. And now, right at the finish line, you're telling me you broke up with her all because of one dance. Seriously, man, that's Nicole we're talking about. The girl you've been simping for over a decade. I didn't reply. I just stared at the figures running across the basketball court in the distance. Over there, Nicole was standing with Sergio, smiling like a blooming flower. Sergio was our school heartthrob, our class president, and Nicole's publicly acknowledged best male friend. At last night's graduation prom, Sergio, as the host, had stepped off the stage the moment the first dance was announced. He extended his hand directly to Nicole. Every eye in the room had fallen on them. And also on me, standing in the corner in a neatly tailored suit, still clutching 2 movie tickets ready to invite Nicole to watch a film after the dance. Nicole didn't hesitate for even a second. She placed her hand into Sergio's palm and didn't even glance at me. In that moment, the cheers and whistles around me felt like sharp knives stabbing straight into my heart. Over a decade of companionship couldn't compete with a moment in the spotlight. In her world, I was nothing more than a background character she could sacrifice at any time. Justin followed my gaze and cursed angrily, "Damn it, it's that pretty boy Sergio again. I told you Nicole's been way too close to him, something like this was bound to happen." He paused, then cautiously tried to persuade me. "Ale, how about you go smooth things over with Nicole? You know what she's like, she loves being put on a pedestal. Just coax her a bit and this will blow over." Blow over? I let out a soft laugh and turned to look at him. "Justin, if something always requires me to coax it back to normal, that's not love, that's serving a damn queen." Justin froze. He had never seen me like this before. The old me would feel heartbroken the moment Nicole even frowned, doing everything I could to make her happy again. You're serious about this?" I nodded, took out my phone, and right in front of him, deleted every way to contact Nicole. WeChat, phone number, QQ gone. Completely. Justin sucked in a sharp breath. "Holy shit, you're really cutting ties completely." I put away my phone and stood up. "It's not about cutting ties, it's about letting myself go." I patted his shoulder. "Come on, I'll treat you to a meal. Let's celebrate my new beginning." Justin followed me, still looking completely stunned. In the distance, Nicole finally seemed to notice me. She said something to Sergio, then picked up her phone as if sending a message. Probably asking me if I've realized my mistake yet. Too bad she's never getting a reply from me again. My phone stayed silent in my pocket. Nicole frowned, a familiar trace of displeasure appearing on her face, the look she always had when someone dared to defy her. She probably thought I was just playing some push-and-pull game. Facing my direction, she mouthed a single word. "Childish." I curled my lips into a faint smile and walked out of the school gate without looking back. This time, I wasn't turning around. Chapter 2. The news of our breakup spread like wildfire, reaching the entire grade within a single day. Everyone reacted the same way Justin did, shock. Alexander actually dumped Nicole? Did the sun rise in the west or something? No way, wasn't he basically Nicole's loyal lapdog? I'll bet a bag of chips, give it 3 days, and Alexander will be crying begging to get back together. Naturally, Nicole heard all of it. She acted completely unfazed, even joking in front of her friends, let him throw a tantrum. Men have their off days. Once he realizes he can't live without me, he'll come crawling back. Her friends immediately echoed her. Exactly. Nicole's this amazing Alexander should feel lucky just to be your boyfriend. He only got the chance because you two grew up together. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be in the running. Nicole clearly enjoyed the flattery. She started showing up everywhere with Sergio, almost as if it was meant for me to see. They went to the library together, ate together, even wore matching color outfits. Justin was so furious he nearly stormed over to confront them several times, but I stopped him every time. "Forget about them," I said while working through practice questions. "We've got more important things to deal with." Justin stared at the mountain of college application guides on my desk, completely confused. "What are you even planning to do?" Weren't you already set on applying to South University with Nicole? I pulled out a brochure from a top-tier university in Beijing from the pile. I've changed my mind. Justin's eyes practically popped out of his head. Beijing? Dude, that's miles away from home. Your grades are good enough, but you. But what? I looked up, my gaze steady. Isn't it better to be farther from home? Quieter. Justin stared at my resolute expression and finally understood something. He swallowed and lowered his voice. Ale, are you planning to just disappear completely? I didn't answer. I simply took a red pen and drew a heavy circle around the name of that university in Beijing. South University was her dream, not mine. My dream used to be her. Now, my dream is to go somewhere she doesn't exist. After school that afternoon, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Nicole's best friend, Avery. Alexander, what's your problem? Playing missing with Nicole. Her tone was full of accusation. Do you need something? My voice was cold. Avery paused, clearly not expecting that response. Nicole left her notebook in the classroom. It has important notes in it. Go bring it to her now. That same commanding tone again. For over a decade, I had been her personal errand boy. I'm busy. I rejected her outright. You, Avery choked on her anger. Alexander, don't push your luck. Nicole's giving you a chance to make things right, so take it. Do you really think she has no other options? Our Nicole has plenty of people chasing her. Class President Sergio is way better than you. That's great, I replied calmly. Wishing them a lifetime of happiness. Then I hung up and blocked the number. The world finally became quiet. I didn't know what expression Avery had on the other end, nor how she would exaggerate the story to Nicole. All I knew was that when I walked out of the school gate and saw Nicole and Sergio standing not far away, my heart remained completely still. Nicole saw me and immediately put on a stern expression, as if ready to interrogate me. I didn't even glance at them as I walked past. Not even a side look. Alexander, Nicole finally couldn't hold it in and called out to me from behind. Her voice was filled with disbelief. Chapter 3. I stopped walking, but I didn't turn around. Do you need something? The same words, cold as ice. Nicole was clearly irritated by my attitude, her voice rising sharply. Where's my notebook? Didn't Avery tell you to bring it to me? Look at that, she doesn't even think calling me herself is beneath her. She still has to send her friend to pass the message. In her mind, I'm just someone she can summon and dismiss at will. I finally turned around and looked at her. She was still as beautiful as ever, wearing a white dress, standing in the glow of the evening sunset like a princess. Too bad I was no longer her knight. First, I'm not your servant. I have no obligation to run errands for you. Second, we've already broken up, Nicole. From now on, don't try to contact me through anyone. Third, I paused, my gaze shifting to Sergio beside her. Isn't your best male friend right here? I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help with something this small. My words landed like a loud slap across both Nicole and Sergio's faces. Students passing by stopped one after another, eager to watch the drama unfold. Nicole's face flushed red, then pale. She had probably never imagined that I, the one who used to obey her every word, would say something like this. Sergio's expression darkened as well. He stepped forward, looking at me with a hint of superiority. Alexander, there's no need to be so harsh when talking to a girl. Nicole just forgot her notebook. Is this really necessary? What does it have to do with you how I talk to her? I shot back coldly. Sergio was left speechless. Nicole took a deep breath, seemingly trying to regain control. She lifted her chin, returning to her usual arrogant posture. Alexander, I really misjudged you. I thought you were just throwing a tantrum. I didn't expect you to be this petty. If we break up, why make it look like we're enemies? It's pointless. Fine, she said, as if delivering a final ultimatum. Since you want to be so heartless, from now on, let's just pretend we never knew each other. Gladly. I threw those words out, turned around, and walked away without the slightest hesitation. The murmurs behind me and Nicole's frustrated stomping became nothing more than background noise to my new life. When I got home, I shut myself in my room and turned on my computer. The college application system. Taking a deep breath, I logged in and without hesitation, deleted the South University option I had originally filled in. Then, in the first choice slot, I firmly typed the name of that university in Beijing. Click. Confirm. Submit. When the words submission successful appeared, it felt as though every shackle on my body shattered in that moment. Nicole, goodbye. My youth, goodbye as well. The next day was the day we returned to school to collect our graduation photos. I deliberately arrived a bit late, hoping to avoid the crowd. But the moment I walked into the classroom, I saw Nicole sitting in my seat. In front of her was an open college application guide. When she saw me, she immediately stood up, her eyes carrying a trace of complicated emotions I couldn't quite read. Alexander, we need to talk. Chapter 4. The classroom was empty except for the two of us. The silence felt heavy, almost suffocating. Nicole clutched the college application guide in her hands, her knuckles turning pale from the force. "You're really not applying to South University anymore?" she asked bluntly. So she found out after all. I guess Justin must have let it slip with his big mouth. "Yeah." I responded lightly, walking to my seat and starting to pack my things. My attitude clearly irritated her. "Why?" she pressed. "Haven't you always wanted to go to South University? We agreed to go together." "That was your agreement, not ours," I corrected. I pulled out the graduation photo from the drawer. In it, the whole class was smiling brightly. And me, I stood behind Nicole, my gaze following her as always. Looking at it now, it felt a little pathetic. Nicole choked on her words, her expression darkening. She took a deep breath and softened her tone, her usual tried-and-true tactic. "Alexander, I know you're still upset about the prom. I admit it was my fault. I'm sorry, okay? Don't joke around with your future. Let's get back together and go to South University like we planned, alright?" Her voice carried a trace of grievance, her eyes reddening. In the past, seeing her like this would have softened me instantly. But now, all I felt was irony. An apology. If apologies solved everything, what would we need the police for? She isn't apologizing because she knows she's wrong, she's apologizing because my defiance made her lose control. I stuffed the graduation photo into my bag, zipped it up, and looked at her as I spoke word by word. "Nicole, you've got something wrong. I didn't change my application to spite you, and I'm not joking. It's a decision I made after seriously thinking it through. As for us," I curled my lips into a cold, lifeless smile, "it's over. There's no going back." Nicole's tears finally fell. Large drops slid down her beautiful face. "All because of one dance? Alexander, do you really have to be this petty? Over a decade of what we had, and you're throwing it all away because of one dance." She cried so delicately, so pitifully. Any man who saw her like this would feel sympathy. But I didn't. Because just last night, I received a recording from Justin. He had accidentally recorded it during the prom. The background was noisy, but two voices came through clearly. Nicole and Sergio. Sergio asked, "You're really not dancing with Alexander? Looks like he prepared for a long time." Nicole let out a light laugh, her tone full of indifference. "Oh, who cares? The college entrance exams are over anyway, he's basically outlived his usefulness. Once we're in college, I'll have plenty of chances to dump him." "Then why are you still applying to South University with him? Come on, think a little." "I just need to keep him stable for now. There are tons of good-looking guys in college, I'm not about to hang myself on one tree. Besides, he treats me so well. Keeping him around as a backup isn't such a bad idea." That was the recording. Like a poisoned dagger, it shattered the last of my illusions. So the devotion I'd given for over a decade was nothing more than usefulness and a backup option to her. I looked at Nicole crying in front of me, my heart utterly cold. One dance? No, it was never about just one dance. That dance was simply the final straw that broke the camel's back. "Yes," I said calmly, meeting her eyes. "It was because of that one dance. I didn't want to play the recording. I didn't want things to end in complete ugliness. Let her keep some dignity, and let me keep mine." Nicole probably never expected that even with tears in her eyes, I would remain unmoved. Her sobbing faltered, and shock and despair filled her gaze. "Alexander, do you even have a heart? Maybe not." I picked up my bag and walked past her. My heart probably died that night at the prom. Chapter 5. From that day on, I never saw Nicole again. I didn't go on the graduation trip. I also made excuses to skip the thank you banquet for our teachers. I stayed at home, and aside from occasionally playing basketball with Justin, I spent most of my time preparing for my upcoming college life. I studied maps of Beijing, looked up guides about the university, and even started teaching myself some introductory college courses. In my world, the name Nicole no longer existed. As for Nicole, she seemed to have finally accepted reality. Justin told me she cried for several days straight, her eyes swollen like walnuts. Her mother even called my mom, probing indirectly to ask if we had a falling out. Fortunately, I had already given my mom a heads up. She simply said it was a matter between young people and that we should resolve it ourselves. Nicole's mother got nowhere and was reportedly quite unhappy. See, mother and daughter are exactly the same, both believing the whole world should revolve around them. Later, Nicole seemed to give up. Her social media posts began showing photos of her eating, drinking, and hanging out with friends, captioned with things like, "Goodbye to the past, hello to a new beginning." In the photos, she was still smiling beautifully. But Sergio was nowhere to be seen by her side. Justin, ever the gossip, told me that Sergio felt embarrassed seeing how much Nicole cared about me. On top of that, his family had already arranged for him to study abroad, so he cut off contact with her as well. Serves her right. That pretty boy ditched her too, now Nicole's all alone, Justin gloated. I just smiled faintly and said nothing. None of this had anything to do with me anymore. My admission letter arrived before Nicole's. That day, when the courier knocked on the door and handed me a red envelope bearing the university's emblem, my heart filled with excitement like never before. My parents were even happier than I was and immediately said they wanted to host a celebratory dinner for relatives and friends. I sent a photo of the admission letter to Justin. He instantly replied with a "damn, that's awesome" meme, followed by "Ale, you're really heading to Beijing alone? Yeah. Respect. That's a real man move. Next time I'm in Beijing, I'm crashing with you." I laughed. It feels good, my future finally belongs to me alone. A few days later, Nicole's admission letter arrived as well. South University, her dream school. She posted a photo of it online without any caption. The comments below were full of congratulations. I saw it too, Justin had forwarded it to me. I glanced at it once, then exited the page. That night, I received a long-awaited call. It was from Nicole. She had probably changed her number. When the call connected, there was a long silence. So long that I thought it was a spam call and was about to hang up. Alexander, her voice carried a heavy nasal tone, sounding fragile. "It's me. Do you need something?" I asked. I got into South University," she said. "Congratulations." My indifference plunged her back into silence. After a long pause, she finally spoke again, her voice almost pleading. "Alexander, I was wrong, I really was. Can you come back? Let's go back to how things were, let's go to South University together." "I don't want to serve a princess anymore," I cut her off. "What?" She didn't understand. I repeated clearly, word by word, "I don't want to be your backup anymore. I don't want to be your simp. And I don't want to keep serving you like some high-end mighty princess. Nicole, you're not someone I can't live without." On the other end of the line, I heard her sharply inhale. Then came the sound of suppressed sobbing. "Alexander, how can you say that about me? I didn't. Whether you did or not, you know the truth." I pulled out the recording and pressed play. "The college entrance exams are over anyway, he's basically outlived his usefulness. Once we're in college, I'll have plenty of chances to dump him. Keeping him around as a backup isn't such a bad idea." Nicole's sweet yet cruel voice rang clearly through the phone. The crying on the other end stopped abruptly. Chapter 6. A deathly silence filled the line. I could imagine Nicole's expression on the other end, how shocked, how humiliated she must be. She probably never imagined that her truest, ugliest side, the one she only showed in private, would be exposed by me so completely. "Did you hear it?" I asked. She didn't respond. Only the sound of her rapid, uneven breathing came through. "So stop saying it was because of one dance. And stop saying you were wrong. You're not wrong, you're just used to weighing pros and cons, used to treating other people's feelings as tools for your own benefit. And I just don't want to be that tool anymore." Every word I said was like a blade, precisely stabbing into her heart. I knew it was cruel. But compared to the silent grievances and neglect I had endured for over a decade, this level of cruelty was nothing. I'm not a saint. I feel pain. I feel anger. I'm only giving back a small fraction of what she once did to me. "Alexander," Nicole finally found her voice again, trembling uncontrollably. I didn't mean it like that. I was just joking with Sergio. Really? I let out a soft laugh. Joking? You call making a joke out of my 10 plus years of feelings a joke? Nicole, even your lies are this half-hearted. She was at a complete loss, panic taking over. You have to believe me. I don't. I cut her off cleanly. From the night of the prom onward, I don't believe a single word you say. Let's leave it at that. Don't call me again. I wish you a bright future at South University. With that, I hung up and blocked the number once more. Outside the window, the night had fully settled. I leaned back in my chair and let out a long breath. It felt like I had just finished an unbearably long war and now it was finally over. There was no sense of revenge, no overwhelming relief like I had imagined. Only a faint emptiness and a quiet exhaustion. After all, it had been more than a decade of my youth. Like cutting out a piece of flesh, even if it was rotten, it still hurt. But long pain is worse than short pain. From now on, the world was wide open. A few days later, Justin asked me out for a meal, saying it was a send-off before I left. At the table, he leaned in mysteriously and said, "Ale, you know what? Nicole, she might have withdrawn her application to South University." My hand paused mid-motion as I was picking up food. Withdrew? Yeah, Justin said dramatically. I heard she's planning to repeat a year and retake the exams. She wants to apply to a university in Beijing next year. I frowned. What is she trying to do? Does she really think that if she repeats a year and comes to Beijing, I'll change my mind? Naive. Justin looked at my expression and asked cautiously, "Ale, she's not planning to chase after you to Beijing, is she? Whatever she does is her business." I took a sip of cola, the cold liquid sliding down my throat, extinguishing the slight irritation that had just risen in my chest. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Even if she ends up in the class next door, I'll treat her like a stranger. Justin looked at me and nodded firmly. That's the way. Let her have a taste of being ignored for once. We had a great time at that meal. We talked about the future, about college, about the brand new chapters of life that were about to unfold. No one mentioned Nicole again. It was as if that name had been completely erased from our world. Chapter 7. On the day I left for college, my parents and Justin came to see me off. The train station was crowded, filled with the atmosphere of parting and anticipation. My mom's eyes were red as she repeatedly reminded me to take care of myself and eat properly. My dad patted my shoulder, saying things like a real man's ambition lies in the world beyond. Justin punched me lightly. "You brat, don't forget your brother when you get to Beijing. And hey, take pictures with pretty girls over there and send them to me." I laughed and agreed to everything. The boarding announcements sounded. I hugged my parents and gave Justin a firm high five. I'm heading off. Safe travels. Pulling my suitcase, I turned and walked toward the ticket gate without looking back. I was afraid that if I saw the reluctance in my parents' eyes, I wouldn't be able to hold myself together. Just as I was about to pass through the gate, a hurried and familiar voice came from behind me. "Alexander." My body stiffened. It was Nicole. I didn't turn around. I didn't even slow my pace. "Alexander, wait." She ran up and grabbed my arm. I could feel her hand trembling. I stopped, then slowly turned around. She stood in front of me, breathing heavily, her face pale. She had lost a lot of weight. Her once proud eyes were now bloodshot, filled with desperation and pleading. You're really leaving?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "What else would I do?" I replied. "Stay and keep being your backup?" My words struck her like a thorn. Her tears instantly welled up. "No. Alexander, it's not like that," she shook her head as she cried. "That recording, it was my fault. I was horrible, I was awful. Please, give me another chance, okay? I withdrew my application from South University. I've decided to repeat a year. Next year, I'll definitely get into a university in Beijing, your university. Just wait for me 1 year, okay?" She clutched my arm tightly with surprising strength, as if she were holding onto her last lifeline. People around us began to cast curious glances. My parents and Justin also walked over, their expressions filled with concern. I looked at the girl crying in front of me, yet my heart remained completely calm. Love that comes too late is worth less than dirt. If you had known this would happen, why didn't you act differently before? Gently, but firmly, I pried her fingers off my arm one by one. "Nicole, it's too late," I said. "Even if you make it to Beijing, even if you end up right beside me, there's no going back for us. You wanted to know why I'm being so heartless, didn't you? Then I'll tell you now. I leaned closer to her ear and in a voice only the two of us could hear, spoke the secret I had kept buried deepest in my heart. A truth even more devastating than the recording. Hashtag Chapter 8. Before the prom started, I went downstairs to your place to wait for you. I saw your mom on the balcony talking on the phone. My voice was soft, yet Nicole's body trembled violently. She lifted her head in disbelief, staring at me as her pupils shrank. I continued. I heard her laughing as she said, "Our Nico and that Alexander. They just grew up together, it's not love. That kid Alexander, his family background is average, and he's kind of dull. He won't amount to much in the future. How could our Nico ever be interested in him? Right now, we're just letting him help Nico out for the time being. Once they get to college and her horizons broaden, they'll naturally break up." Nicole, tell me, were those words just a joke too? In an instant, all color drained from Nicole's face. Her mouth opened, but not a single word came out. Her body swayed as if she might collapse. If that recording had been the knife she stabbed into me with her own hands, then her mother's words were the mountain that had been pressing down on me for over a decade, suffocating me. So in their eyes, both mother and daughter, everything I had given, everything I had worked for, was nothing but a joke. I was just an average, dull, unpromising tool. A stepping stone they believed they could manipulate and discard at will. How ridiculous, Alexander. What you thought was childhood companionship and innocent affection was in their eyes nothing more than a calculated act of charity. That dance at the prom, those words Nicole said, they were merely confirmation of this cruel truth. I looked at her pale face, and the last trace of emotion in my heart disappeared. So put away your cheap tears and regret. Your whole family looks down on me, don't you? Now that I'm leaving, going somewhere you'll never be able to reach, you should be happy. I took a step back, creating a final undeniable distance between us. Nicole, I wish you the best with your repeat year. Goodbye. No, goodbye forever. I turned around, pulled my suitcase, and walked straight into the ticket gate without looking back. Behind me, Nicole's heart-wrenching cries echoed through the station, along with my mom's and Justin's anxious shouts. I didn't stop. The train slowly began to move. The platform outside drifted farther and farther away, and the familiar faces gradually blurred. Leaning back in my seat, I watched the scenery rush past the window. A warm tear slid down from the corner of my eye. Not for Nicole, but for the version of myself who had spent over a decade loving foolishly. Goodbye, Alexander. Hello, Alexander. A brand new world was waiting for me ahead. Hashtag Chapter 9. Autumn in Beijing arrives earlier than in my hometown, and it's far more vibrant. Golden ginkgo leaves blanket the campus roads, crunching softly underfoot. College life turned out to be more exciting and busier than I had imagined. I joined the university debate team and participated in an entrepreneurship club. My days were packed from start to finish. I met many new friends, people from all over the country. Each of them had an interesting soul and shining dreams. Being with them, I felt a sense of freedom and openness I had never experienced before. I was no longer Nicole's boyfriend Alexander. I was just Alexander. An independent, confident individual with his own thoughts and ambitions. Justin often messaged me on WeChat, complaining about his college life while casually probing into my love life. "Ale, got your eye on any girls yet? The girls at our school are kinda mid, I still miss our high school queen." The queen he was referring to was, of course, Nicole. I replied, busy building my future. No time. And that was the truth. Debate training and competitions, club projects, and heavy coursework had already taken up all my time. Occasionally, I would think of Nicole, but it felt like recalling a story I had read a long time ago. The details were blurry, leaving only a faint outline. There was no longer any pain or resentment. Any news about her came through Justin. He said Nicole really did repeat a year. She locked herself at home, studying relentlessly, becoming a full-on study machine. She stopped dressing up, stopped socializing, and even stopped posting online. Her entire world seemed to revolve around nothing but studying. Justin couldn't help but comment, "Man, how the tables have turned. You used to grind for her, now she's the one grinding for you." I simply replied, "That's her business. Whatever she does has nothing to do with me. She's not working hard for me, she's doing it for her own unwillingness to let go and her need to possess." At the end of my first semester, as a core member of the debate team, I represented the university at a national debate competition in Shanghai. We advanced through every round and eventually won the championship. As the best debater, I stood on the podium. The spotlight shone down on me, and thunderous applause filled the hall. At that moment, looking at the admiration and approval in the audience's eyes, a surge of indescribable pride rose within me. Turns out, even without following behind you, I can shine on my own. After the competition, our team stayed in Shanghai for 2 more days to celebrate and explore. Standing under the night view of the Bund, I received a call from Justin. His voice was unusually frantic. "Ale, holy crap, something big happened. Nicole came looking for you." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "I don't know how she found out about your debate schedule, but she took a high-speed train to Beijing today alone. She said she's going to wait for you at your university gate and give you a surprise when you get back." A surprise? No, it was a shock. I hung up the phone and looked out at the boats moving across the river, a headache forming instantly. Like a lingering ghost. I immediately booked the earliest high-speed train back to Beijing. I had to end everything completely before she did something even more extreme. I don't want my new life to be messed up by her. Chapter 10. By the time I rushed back to school, travel-worn and exhausted, it was already the afternoon of the next day. Beijing was welcoming its first snowfall of the winter. The flakes were large and heavy, drifting down in thick swirls, quickly dressing the entire campus in a coat of silver. Dragging my suitcase behind me, I hurried toward the south gate. From a distance, I spotted that familiar figure. She stood beside the stone lion at the entrance without an umbrella. Snowflakes settled on her hair and shoulders, melting almost instantly and soaking into her thin overcoat. Her face was flushed red from the cold, her lips tinged purple, her whole body trembling uncontrollably. Yet her eyes remained fixed on the school gate, unblinking, like a statue of someone waiting endlessly for their lover to return. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up, like someone in a desert suddenly spotting an oasis. "Alexander." She ran toward me. Having stood there for too long, her legs had gone numb, she stumbled and nearly fell. Instinctively, I almost reached out to steady her, but in the end, I held myself back. I simply stood there, watching her with indifference. She stopped in front of me, wearing a fawning, almost servile smile. "You're back." I came to see you." Her teeth were chattering, whether from the cold or nerves, I couldn't tell. "Why did you come?" I asked. I just wanted to see you." She pulled out a tightly wrapped thermos from behind her. "I made your favorite pork rib soup. It's still hot, drink some and warm yourself up." She held it out to me, her eyes filled with hope. If this had been before, I would have been deeply moved. But now, all I felt was ridicule. I didn't take it. "Nicole, do you really think we're still the kind of people who can share soup together?" My words froze the smile on her face. Just leave," I cut her off. "Beijing is cold. You shouldn't be here." "I'm not leaving," she suddenly burst out, grabbing my sleeve. "Alexander, I'm begging you, please don't send me away. I studied so hard this year. In my latest mock exam, my score is already high enough for your university. I can come be with you next year. I know I was wrong, I really do. I even yelled at my mom. We had a huge fight. I'll never listen to her again." She broke down crying, tears mixing with melting snow, making her look utterly disheveled. "Alexander, look at me, look at how miserable I am now. Don't you feel even a little sorry for me?" "Sorry?" As I looked at her, what came to mind was that woman on the balcony, her face full of disdain as she called me worthless. And that girl at the party, speaking to Sergio with contempt, saying I had no value. "Sorry?" My heart was already thrown to the ground and crushed beneath the feet of you and your mother. "I don't." I said the words clearly. Her sobbing stopped abruptly, as if someone had grabbed her by the throat. She stared at me blankly, the last trace of light in her eyes fading away. "Take the thermos with you," I said. "And don't come looking for me again." What we had should have ended long ago. With that, I turned away without another glance and walked into the school gate. The security guard recognized me. Seeing the scene, he asked no questions, he simply swiped the card to let me in. I stepped into the warmth of the campus, leaving the storm and that broken figure completely behind me. Chapter 11. I thought that resolute goodbye in the snow would be the final ending. But I underestimated Nicole's obsession. Or rather, I underestimated her unwillingness to accept defeat and her possessive nature. From that moment on, my life began to be disturbed. Somehow, she got hold of my new phone number and started sending me dozens of messages every day. At first, they were apologies and confessions. Then they turned into reminiscing about the past. And eventually, they became threats. Alexander, if you keep ignoring me, I'll post all our old photos on your school's forum. Alexander, do you believe I'll jump off a building right now? She's lost it. Completely lost it. I blocked her number again and again, but she just kept switching to new ones. In the end, I couldn't take it anymore and had to change my number. But that still didn't put an end to it. She started sending me packages. All kinds of things. Snacks I used to like, sneakers I once mentioned wanting, even a scarf she had knitted herself. Every single package, I returned unopened. Even Justin started to find her unsettling. Ale, is something wrong with this woman mentally? This isn't pursuing someone, this is straight up harassment. I didn't respond. I believed that as long as I refused to give her any reaction, she would eventually give up. Time passed, neither fast nor slow. In the blink of an eye, it was the summer of the following year. The college entrance exam results came out. Justin messaged me immediately. Ale, Nicole, she actually made it. Her score is more than 10 points above your university's cutoff from last year. I stared at my phone screen in silence. She really did it. In just 1 year, she pushed herself this far. But what does it even mean? Not long after, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar local number. I hesitated for a moment, but still answered. Alexander, it's me. It was Nicole. Her voice sounded calm, there was even a hint of relief and quiet joy. I got in, she said. Congratulations, I replied. I applied to your university. Your major, she continued. We can be together again. I closed my eyes, feeling a deep sense of exhaustion. Nicole, why can't you understand? There's no possibility for us anymore. Why? Her voice suddenly became sharp. I've already gone this far for you. I gave up South University, repeated a whole year, endured so much just to get close to you. What more do you want from me? This isn't for me, you're doing this for yourself, I said coldly. You're paying the price for your own ridiculous pride and unwillingness to let go. I never asked you to do any of this. Everything you've done was your own choice. It has nothing to do with me. On the other end of the line, I could hear her suppressed sobbing. Alexander, do you have to be this heartless? All those years between us, do they really mean nothing to you? Nothing. I gave the cruelest and most honest answer. Nicole, let me go, and let yourself go too. We've long since become people from different worlds. I hung up. This time, I didn't block her. Because I knew this was the last conversation between us. Some things had to be made clear. And some dreams had to be shattered. Chapter 12. September came again, the start of a new academic year. The campus was filled with fresh faces, brimming with youthful energy. I had moved up to sophomore year, becoming the vice captain of the debate team and taking on key roles in student organizations. Every day, I was so busy my feet barely touched the ground. I saw Nicole at the university's freshman welcome gala. She went on stage as a representative of the new students. She had cut her hair short and was dressed in a simple white t-shirt and jeans. She looked much more mature than she had a year ago. Her speech was impressive, confident and composed, and earned thunderous applause. After she finished and stepped off the stage, her gaze swept through the crowd. Eventually, it stopped on me. Our eyes met across the distance. Her expression was complicated, there was expectation, sadness, unwillingness to let go, and a trace of acceptance. I simply looked at her calmly, then gave a slight nod. It was the most ordinary, distant greeting. The kind you give to someone you've just met, a completely ordinary junior. She understood. The last trace of hope on her face faded. She forced a smile that looked worse than crying, then turned and walked into the crowd of freshmen. From that moment on, we became the most familiar strangers in the same university. We would run into each other on campus, pass by in the cafeteria, sit not far apart in the library. But we never spoke a single word again. I had my own life now, my own circle. In the second semester of sophomore year, I met a girl in the debate team who loved to smile. Her name was Serafina. She was my junior and my teammate. She was intelligent and hardworking, and the way she looked at me was always filled with admiration and appreciation. We prepared for competitions together, discussed debate topics, and after training, went to eat at that delicious spicy hot pot place near the school. When I was with her, I felt a kind of ease and happiness I had never experienced before. On a sunny afternoon, I confessed my feelings to her. She smiled and said yes. We walked hand in hand along the ginkgo-lined avenue bathed in sunlight. From a distance, I saw Nicole. She was alone, holding a few books, walking toward us from the opposite direction. She saw us too, saw our tightly clasped hands. She stopped in her tracks and just stood there, quietly watching us. Serafina noticed my hesitation. Following my gaze, she looked over and asked curiously, "That person, do you know her?" I turned to Serafina and smiled. "I don't." Holding her hand, I walked straight past Nicole. From beginning to end, I didn't look at her again. Behind me, I heard the sound of books falling to the ground. But I didn't turn back. My world had already entered spring. And her winter had only just begun. There is still a photo saved on my phone. Justin took it secretly on the day I left my hometown. In the picture, I'm dragging my suitcase, walking toward the ticket gate with my back to the camera. And not far behind me is Nicole, crying her heart out. Justin captioned the photo with a sentence. "Some people, once you miss them, they're gone forever." Yeah. Gone forever.